We would like to thank our panelists and moderator. Hocam, Nezi Hocam, if I put some pressure on you, you know, sometimes I have to play the bad cop here. So thank you very much for all of your inputs. So if you will, now we will move on with our fourth session. It is titled Trade and Investment Opportunities and Threats in the Europe-Mediterranean Region. Üçüncü panelimizin adı Avrupa-Akdeniz Bölgesinde Ticaret ve Yatırım Fırsatları ile Tehditler. Bu sefer işin olanaklarından çok biraz da olası tehditlerinin konuşulacağı bir panel olacağını düşünüyorum. Bu panelin moderatörü Doktor Begüm Şeren Güler. Kendisi Dışişleri Bakanlığı'nda Avrupa Birliği uzmanı. She is the European Policy Expert. She is from the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ve panelistlerimiz Doktor Alaa. She is the Secretary General of the Confederation of Egyptian Chambers and Union of African Chambers. Kendisi Mısır Ticaret Odaları Federasyonu ve Afrika Odaları Birliği Genel Sekreteri. Bir diğer panelistimiz Stefano Missir di Lusignano. Kendisi Ticari ve Ekonomik Ataşe, Belçika Konsolosluğundan. She is the Economic and Commercial Ataşe, Consulate General of the Belgium in Istanbul. Welcome, sir. And Laura Aldone, she is President of International Business Network, Women Network, Vice President of Vilnius Chamber of Commerce. Kendisi Vilnius Ticaret Odası Başkan Yardımcısı. Ve son anons edeceğim panelistimiz Rim Siam, Board Member of the ICC World Chambers Federation Genel Konseyi'nden, ICC Dünya Odalar Federasyonu Genel Konseyi. Efendim? Hepsinin kulaklığı var. So, Begüm Hanım. Kulaklık mikrofon mu isteniyor? Ne istiyorsunuz? El mikrofonuyla idare edebilecek misiniz? Tabii. Tamam. Pekala.
Herkese merhaba. Panelimize hoş geldiniz. Çok fazla uzatmadan bitirmeye çalışacağız. Konuşmacılarımın tamamı Türkçe konuşmadığı için İngilizce devam edeceğim müsaade ederseniz. I will continue in English. Well, good afternoon everyone. Sorry. It's a pleasure to welcome you at MEDSPARC session on trade and investment opportunities in the Euro-Mediterranean region. As you all know, we are operating at a landscape shaped by supply chain disruptions, reconfigurations, new sustainability standards, value chain opportunities, and triple transformation. We want now actionable steps emerging from this room and steps that we can develop together after MEDSPARC. So our goal today is to move beyond abstract discussions and identify concrete mechanisms, opportunities, risks, and standards together. To structure our dialogue, I'm going to ask each speaker some specific questions, and I'll ask them to provide us some specific examples, instruments, quick wins that can strengthen the cooperation and integration in the Euro-Mediterranean region. I'm not going to reintroduce them to you. We are together with distinguished speakers today, leaders from the region, 3 people from the Chambers of Commerce and Federations, and we have the Commercial and Economic Attaché from the Consulate of Belgium in Istanbul. So I'll start with Dr. Ez, Dr. Alaa Ez. Based on your leadership across the region, where do you see the quickest wins in the EU-Med-Africa triangle value chains, for example, in inputs, assembly, in service sectors, and what practical steps can SMEs take to capture these opportunities, and which sectors do you see as the most promising? Thank you.
That's an interesting question, but let me answer in a different perspective, and I'll contradict some of what has been said during the day. Actually, big companies lead the market, and there is no big company, whether in services, whether in manufacturing, that works without SMEs. A car has 1,826 pieces made by SMEs. A construction company has subcontractors that can sway between 1,000 and 2,000. So basically what we need to do, this triangular cooperation, as the EU call it, I call it third country cooperation, where European, with, for example, Turkish companies, with Egyptian companies, can tackle markets within the region, something I mentioned in the morning, let's say Africa, where we have zero customs. So if you're producing a car, you're producing a TV, a computer, with 180% customs, it's win-win for everybody. Instead of exporting zero, you export 40% as components, as technology, as brand name, and here is where you can move. What dominates actually this type of cooperation is markets. And market access, we witness it today, is the driving force for all businesses. Today, from January until today, we had almost 500 Turkish companies producing ready-made garments relocating to Egypt. Why? Because their markets has been blocked by customs and because of the minimum wages that has been raised in Turkey. So basically it's win-win because we get raw materials, we get design, we get brand names, which you already would do nothing with. You cannot export anymore. You export it to Egypt, we value add on it, and then go to your traditional market of the United States. Here it's win-win. So this is the future that we're looking at. But if we're looking at triple transformation and the way to play that game, maybe I'll go to your previous life when you were in Tipav, because I think we worked together on this Global Bridges initiative, where what I just said was done, but in a very scientifically academic methodology, where we funneled where is the competitive edge of the EU country by country, of Turkey and of Egypt, and we saw where we can have complementarities and together where we can have quick wins. And I think this brings us to the next steps. Next steps is going to a think tank using academia. The bridge between academia is not only in innovation and business, it is more actually in market studies, market research, and strategic planning for the future. I'll stop at that and maybe I'll add later on.
Dr. Hez, this gives us a solid map where speed and scale are indeed possible. Now let's hear from Laura Aldone, who will guide us through diversity as a competitiveness asset. And I would like to ask her, how can chambers of commerce operationalize cross-border supplier diversity so that more women-led SMEs can become part of international supply chains, and which KPIs would you track to demonstrate that women-led exporters are gaining real market access? Thank you.
Good afternoon for everybody. It is a great honor to attend to the summit the second time. And thank you very much for a very important question, because I am also a businesswoman and I represent as President International Businesswomen Network and Vilnius Chamber of Commerce in Lithuania as Vice President. So let's imagine a talented entrepreneur in Europe or the Mediterranean region who runs a small or big company. She wants to be a part of an international supply chain but faces many barriers, from lack of information to lack of connections. I would like to outline several key steps and then discuss which KPIs we could track to measure real progress. So the first, international business networks and chambers-to-chamber collaboration. Chambers of commerce occupy a unique position. They stand at the intersection of business communities, policymakers, and suppliers. This means they can connect partners from different countries, foster diversity in supply chains, and help include more women-led enterprises. In practice, this could take the form of an international alliance of chambers for women's entrepreneurship. For instance, chambers from Europe and the Mediterranean region could sign agreements to share data on women-owned SMEs, exchange good practices, and create joint programs. These cross-border projects create platforms for women to establish international business ties. And that is exactly what we aim for. The second, supplier diversity events and direct matchmaking between women-led SMEs and buyers. Chambers of Commerce can organize international trade missions, what they are doing now, but trade missions are basic. Supplier diversity expos and matchmaking sessions specifically for women-led businesses. These are practical ways to open doors to global value chains. The third, mentorship programs and capacity building. For women-led SMEs, to successfully enter international value chains, they need preparation and support. Chambers of Commerce can implement training, advisory, and mentoring programs tailored for export readiness. This includes seminars on international standards, export procedures, supplier certification, and financing sources. We can apply such model cross-border as well. Experienced women exporters in Europe could mentor emerging entrepreneurs from southern Mediterranean countries and vice versa. And the last but not least, the visibility and certification to get more led businesses on the radar of large buyers. We must increase their visibility. One approach is to create databases of women-owned SMEs and their offerings, accessibility to international cooperation. Chambers in partnership with others could develop a digital platform linking women-owned enterprises with foreign buyers. To demonstrate real progress in market access for women-led exporting businesses, we need to track clear performance metrics. What KPIs would we monitor? The first, number and share of women-led exporting companies. The second, market reach and market diversification. The third, growth in export volume. And the fourth, number of international contracts and partnerships agreement. As before, a key speaker told that we have to make a decision in separate regions but together, and then we will cooperate internationally. So let's open our markets, connect, prepare, empower, and track progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I turn to Rimsian for a global chambers perspective. And I would like to ask, what steps are ICC World Chambers Federation taking to promote digital interoperability between chambers to streamline cross-border movement within the Euromed region? Over to you.
Thank you. First, thank you for inviting me to this panel. I am pleased to be here today with, alongside my colleagues and to contribute to this important discussion. The International Chamber of Commerce works for and with chambers through our World Chambers Federation. We connect and unite chambers from every corner of the world in support of our mission to enable prosperity and opportunity for all by creating the conditions and tools for all businesses to thrive. The ICC World Chambers Federation is actively working on several fronts to promote digital interoperability among chambers, especially in trade documentation, e-certificates, e-documents, and trusted digital processes. Here are some of the most significant current efforts, how they work and where challenges, opportunities still remain, with a special lens on how this could affect the Euromed region. First, how ICC World Chamber Federation is building digital interoperability. Through ICC Genesis, which is a digital trade tool launched by ICC in 2024 to streamline the process of exporting under free trade agreements. Through digital certificate of origin and verification platform, ICC provide a digital verification platform for a global certificate of origin accreditation chain where customs authorities and stakeholders can check whether a certificate of origin is valid. Through ATA Carnet, which is a duty and tax-free permits for temporary export and import of goods, which through ICC one-click, no, it's okay. So through ICC one-click, which is a gateway to trade tool solution, through Chambers Connect platform, which to build alliance and solve problems, through ICC Centers of Entrepreneurship, which is the largest business-led ecosystem to support entrepreneurs, through ICC Agri-Food Hub platform, through ICCtrade.com, a marketplace that allows investors to benefit from reduced compliance costs and financial trade, through Chamber Model Innovation Framework, through Incoterms, through Chamber Benchmarking Tool, ICC Dubai Chambers Partnership, Chamber Pulse Survey. So how all this supports interoperability? By digitizing origin certification, ICC Genesis reduces reliance on physical paperwork, helps standardize origin declarations, and ensures that chambers globally can serve as certifying authorities in a more interoperable and audit-friendly way. Also, chambers in the Euromed region that adopt chamber model innovation are more likely to build or host interoperable digital trade services, including certificates. So all previous initiatives are keys and steps for digital interoperability. Thank you.
Thank you for the detailed answer. Well, I'm amazed by the vast majority of those tools. Now I would like to invite Stefano, Missir de Lusignano, to take the floor as a diplomat, and who is from Belgium, and at a forum focused on Mediterranean region. And allow me to first ask you, how does your country find its place in such a sunny Mediterranean context? And okay, from a more serious and economic standpoint,
I got a difficult question to start.
yes.
No worries.
And what do you see the principal risks and key opportunities for trade and investment in the region? Thank you.
Good question. Actually, you could have been the one answering this question because, as far as I know, you lived quite a long time in Belgium. So you know where we are located and what we are doing in Belgium. But anyhow, I will be pleased to reply to your question. Before that, I would like to thank EasyCAD, President Özden Hanım and past President, Honorary President Betül Hanım for their kind invitation. It's always a pleasure, not only to be in Izmir, but to be invited by EasyCAD. EasyCAD is not only a beautiful woman, businesswoman association, but a very proactive one, and very happy every time I get in touch with them to see that they are very well connected, not only with the Med world, but also with countries like mine, Belgium, and cities, like mine, Brussels. Having said that, yes, it is true that in Belgium we are more familiar with the cold waters of the North Sea and not the blue crystal water of the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. But as you know, Belgium is an open economy. We export a vast majority of what we produce. And also our economy rely on an import-based model. So trade is of crucial importance for our economy. If we do not export, if we do not import, I mean using our infrastructure in Belgium to facilitate the transit and to facilitate the international trade, we cannot exist in this world. So that is the first point, and I'm happy to see that
that we have an increasing number of Belgian companies dealing and trading with Mediterranean countries. That's a point. The second point is that Belgium is a gateway not only for European trade, but also for international trade. So whenever we receive goods coming from Americas or for Asia, these goods, they are transiting through our ports. I would like to remind you that port of Antwerp is the second biggest port in Europe, and these goods, they transit and they proceed to the ports located in the Mediterranean region. So these are basically the two main reasons why we always pay a lot of attention of what is happening in this really important region. Now, as you mentioned, you want to discuss the opportunities and the threats. So as I know that we are running out of time and we discussed this morning lots of the opportunities, maybe I should more focus on the threats or on the risk, even though I don't like this word. I'd like better to point out, let's say, or to mention point of attentions. And recently we discussed this point of attention in the Med region together with the business communities and also within the diplomatic circle, of course. And considering the Med region, which are these points of attentions? The first one that I should mention, and maybe I should, let's say, move to some geopolitical consideration, as we all know that international trade dramatically is shaped by geopolitics. And if we don't have stability, we will never have business. So the point of attention in this region, maybe the first one is the disengagement of the United States of America. And we all know that they are more busy dealing with internal affairs now. So this is maybe the first point. The second point that I might see as a point of consideration is what will be the future role of Russia in the Mediterranean area. The situation in Tartus is not really clear. So we need to see what is going on, what will be the future of these prisons in that region. Also, we have seen Turkey's rise in an emerging regional power. That's also a point that probably will change the game in the future. And if I have to mention two last points of attention, the first of these 2 points is we have to carefully take into consideration that the freedom of navigation in this zone might become a problem. The world has changed, and we have seen an increasing number of what we call modern piracy. What we're going to see, the number of incidents will increase in the future, we don't know. But we have to look at that point. And maybe last but not least, we have to think about our own security in this part of the world. And if you look at what is happening now underwater, we really have to be careful. Not only for our telecommunication infrastructure, because we have seen there too an increasing number of what we can call incidents or sabotage. And this is not good for the business. As I repeat, business, they like stability, they like peace, and they like safe routes. So it might be an additional risk to trading in this region, as well as the energy infrastructure. Energy, we discussed a lot about energy transition this morning, but the sources of energy and to make them sure, safe, it's, according to all of us, a really great challenge.
This really anchors what we have spoken in a realistic way. But I don't want to leave pessimism here. So for the second round, I would like to open a short targeted discussion very quickly. And I would like to combine the quick win sectors, opportunities with the risks Stefano just identified. And I encourage you to react briefly or propose 2 to 3 initiatives or solutions. Shall we start with you, Rim, or Dr. S?
I think the quick Euromed wins. It's real-time customs data sharing to cut delays across north-south corridors and mutual recognition of e-certificate of origin to speed borders.
That was fast, so I'll take the rest of your time. Since we're ICC, both of us, so that, let me first, before saying what needs to be done to create quick wins, I'll just say what is the reality. A beautiful, grim picture was given, which is reality. There is nothing we can debate, but since we got used to it, and we as business community, unlike governments, we do not see problems. We see opportunities. They cut the internet cable. It's a business opportunity for a welding company to do it. So there is always a positive side in these nightmares. But let me just give you a quick short story. My daughter, when she was 6 years, we were shopping and I took the toothpaste I like. And she said, no. And she put it back. I said, why? She said, this is not eco-labeled, 6 years. Then I took another one that's eco-labeled. And she said, no, we're not taking this. I said, why? She said, because this company doesn't have CSR and their factory is in Cairo, it's not in rural Egypt. 6 years. And I said, there is no more brands available. She said, I'll get it online. The 3 transformations you're talking about is a kid 6 years old. What I'm trying to say is simply, these are the market of the future. If you do not prepare yourself to the future, you will have no potential of living, not only growing. So what we need to do is to give market access. If we're talking about micro enterprises, startups, SMEs, market access and training and capacity building and giving them technical assistance, not to comply with environmental regulations, but to do waste minimization, to do eco-labeling, to do reuse, recycle, for their own good, because this is their money in the raw materials that's going to the air, soil, and water. Governments call it pollution. I call it my money lost. So this is what needs to be done. The tools to do that is something we'll be doing with EasyCat, that we'll be doing with TOBB, and the study for it is being done by TPAV, where we got the approval of the European Commission to revive the 3 instruments that we really need: the Euro Partenariats, the Enterprise, and the MED Partenariats. And these are what I think it was mentioned by my colleague from Jordan. It's a 3-year process of identifying companies, doing pre-matchmaking, providing access to finance, and follow up for over a year, ensuring that these exchange of business cards and 15 minutes dialogue materializes into real partnerships. And I think this is the best tool if we're talking about small companies, especially women-led companies, to really thrive and grow.
I will be very quick. At first, I agree totally with Dr. S. And I would like to highlight 2 priorities: accelerating digital transformation, advancing a green and sustainable economy. And also as a businesswoman, I would like to highlight promoting women's entrepreneurship.
Yeah, maybe just back to Dr. Alaa said, and he mentioned this morning the example of a company, a Belgian, a Brussels-based company doing business in the Med region, Basics. And one of their success is the international collaborations. So we know, for instance, that in Turkey, our counterparts, they are looking for these business partnerships, business collaborations, not only to do business within the Turkish market, but also in the whole region. And if we can achieve that, it's already one step forward. We can take the example of what in Europe, Erasmus program was a huge success. If we could have this kind of Erasmus program for companies, just mixing up and doing business, each one's giving added value and bringing their own competence in the interest of the people, interest of the consumers, in the interest of the markets, that would be a great achievement.
Hello, can we ask question here? I am here.
He put the mic on in the end of the hall.
Can I ask question? Later.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes later.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks for your patience. And now, one last vision tour for our speakers. I would like you to give us a one-sentence summary of your 2030 target of your institutions. Just one sentence.
The priorities or target? Targets, okay. There are several key global areas where we are actively advocating for. So one of them is the road to World Trade Organization ministerial conference, which will take place in Cameroon. So ICC is calling on WTO members to launch a structure to renew the e-commerce moratorium on customs duties on electronic transmissions. So we are preparing for this milestone event. And in addition to a World Trade Organization reform and revitalizing global trade, the Commission's priorities include trade and digital, advancing work on cross-border data flows, and beginning work in 2026 on model digital trade clauses.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Dr. S.
Basically, there are three interlocking issues that we need to work on. And this, it's not only for normal SMEs, it's not only for women-led SMEs, it's for all businesses. Number one, ensuring that there is sufficient logistic channels to ensure that the value chain is operational throughout our region and between our countries. Second is access to finance. And I'm not saying availability of finance, it's actually being able to access the finance. And third, ensuring free trade and opening up our markets fully. Again, no negative lists, no non-tariff barriers, no blockage for trade, nothing like Stefano mentioned that's being promoted by our American friends who I love very much, but I don't love their trade policies. So opening up our markets to each one. I'll just close with one sentence. In Egypt, when we had the Euromed partnership and we opened our markets to the European Union, yes, our imports from the EU quadrupled, but it was not new products. It was just products I used to buy from somebody else I got from the EU. That's number one. But investments went up 500%. So free trade is the future for all of us.
I have only 3 words: digitalization, then access to global market, and the third, I forgot. No, and the third, it is open matchmaking.
Just a moment.
Can I
Dr.
just
would
say
like to
one
add
thing?
something.
And Stefano, I think one of the things you have to deliver before 2030 is you go to Antwerp and bring diamonds to all the wonderful ladies who are here in the audience. Now you're stuck.
Wish I can do that, but it's always difficult to talk about just after you, Doctor, because you take my words. So not only for that, but also one of the objective that we are now following up in our office is global financing. And that's why we will organize in the coming months, actually in May, a very important summit about global financing and business opportunities in the Med region. It means that discussing with representatives of the international and multilateral development banks, we've seen that there is a lot of funding available for projects in Turkey and also in the whole region. But I'm not really sure that not only big, but small and medium-sized companies, they are aware of it. So our objective is to disseminate this information and to let companies know that there is public funding available for cross-border and international projects.
With your permission, just one more thing, because we've been playing this game for the past 15 years under a program called Meda Finance, which includes Turkey, actually. First, we'll be sending you all the available instruments, but the trick is not informing companies about the availability of finance. The trick is we got interns, and you have an army in Izmir of interns that you can use. We place them with the international financial institutions and the European and regional ones, where they learned how to fill this Bible of application. Here is the nightmare for the SME. What's your strategic plan for the next 20 years? They have no idea what they'll do tomorrow. So you cannot ask these questions. So they help them to fill it. One last thing, an advice. You can include a partner with 0.01% in a project from an eligible country for a source of finance that Turkey is not eligible for. So you can get the Arab Fund, the Islamic Fund, all the funds that Turkey is not, Islamic Turkey is eligible, but Arab, Saudi Arabia, the Dubai Fund, Abu Dhabi Fund, all these funds with excellent grace period and terms of payment with 0.01% partner who gets the money and comes with it. So this is one game you can play. To have educated.
Directions, thank you. Now I turn to audience to kindly convey their questions. Maybe gentlemen at the back, please take the floor.
My name is Eser. I have a company, Marla DT Engineering. I am a mechanical engineer. I want to ask two questions, Lara. How can small and medium companies best use organizations like your chamber to find reliable partners, supplier or customer, and minimize their business risk?
Thank you very much for the question. At first, I would like to ask you, are you a member of Chamber of Commerce in Izmir? Everybody?
Yes, we are member, yes.
Yes. So I think you know all tools what has Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce has a wide platform, European Enterprise Network, and you can use this platform for searching partners in other countries. So I would like to recommend to use this platform at first. And the second, also what I am doing also, because I am member of Chamber of Commerce already 16 years, And I am participating in all business missions what are organizing of Chamber of Commerce. So 2 small suggestions for you. I hope I answered to you. Maybe you would like to?
And a third one, you always have the presence of your trade attaché of the embassy of Turkey in the country where you are looking for business contacts.
I'll add one more thing. Let's not forget that Izmir Chamber is part of TOBB, which is your Federation of Chambers and Commodity Exchanges. And at the moment, Refat Bek, the chairman of TOB, is the chairman of the World Chamber Federation. That is part of ICC, which has all the instruments that Reem has mentioned, which includes something very important. They verify the counterpart, including their financial capacity. So I'm not giving you data, I'm giving you real information.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you for this panel. And because it's all chambers, I would like to ask a challenging question, if you allow me. So we're speaking about transformation today. And what can chambers do today for them to expedite or accelerate the process of transformation? I don't believe the chambers model as it is today will be able to serve us in the coming 30, 50 years. So what can we do today to be able to aspire for a better tomorrow? Thank you.
A little bit elaborate on why do you see that this model will not be valid in the future? Just
Because he just
concisely.
mentioned, Dr. Alaa, a story about his daughter, the 6 years old. The future generation is no longer at the same pace that we have as in our generation, number one. Number two, it's not only capacity development that we require, we really need concrete actions for the future. But again, I'm looking into the chambers because I know they have the resources, they have the power, they have the connection with the public and private sector as much. So, but again, I do believe we're still rigid in the region how the chambers are operating. And that might be my thought. You might tell me we're doing it fine, we're gonna stay as we are. And you might tell me and provide me with a new idea that we can actually start working on it on a regional level. Thank you.
Much. Who would?
I think I've been volunteered to speak. No, let me just clarify something. Chambers have faced World War I, World War II, have faced lots of things and they remain. Chamber, by definition, is a room, chamber, where business people meet to discuss problems. This is translated in modern chambers to advocacy and to do business, which is translated today into services. And these 2 pillars, you cannot survive as a private sector company without having somebody to advocate for you, where you have academia, committees, commissions coming, feeding in with problems, new laws, regulations that need to be amended, and then bombarding the government in different methodologies. And when I say government, it's not government only, it's government, parliament, do the whole avalanche of decision-making process in your country and globally at the level of WTO and UN, regionally with the EU in the negotiations. So the advocacy part will remain forever. There is nothing you can kill about advocacy. But when it comes to services, there are slow chambers, I'm with you 100%, who are dying. What dies is not the chamber, what dies is the board. You find in lots of cities associations that are coming, sprouting out, taking the role of the chamber for a year, for 2, for 3, and then the chamber board changes. You have young, new mentality who sees the market, who see the needs, and they start upgrading and modernizing the chamber. So chambers who digitalized 10 years ago will survive for 50 years, 100 years until they go into this cycle. Chambers who were slow and still living on notarization and mandatory membership, not the chamber that will die. The board and the management will die, and then you'll find taken over by new generation, same like companies. A company like Kodak, for example, where they decided that they will not go into digital cameras. They died. but their facilities have been used again and again and again by newer companies. So chambers will be there forever. Don't think you replace us. We're there. Anybody wants? You're the ICC. You have to defend chambers.
Okay, any other question from the room? Please go ahead.
There is an Erasmus between businesses, just it's between younger businesses and older businesses, mature businesses. This platform exists, I think, 70 years from the Commission. It is on a contract base. My company is the intermediate organization for Greece, that's why I know it. But the problem is that there is no much visibility on this program. For example, Turkey is always underperformed. Not many entrepreneurs know and participate in that. Greece is on the top list because we did an extra effort as a company, my company, not the association, to let this program thrive. And even though that we are a small country, we are in the top 3 countries that we sent out entrepreneurs. But such program exists, plus the fact that Erasmus plus adult actually can include companies. Just the national agencies prefer to work with chambers, associations, because it multiplies the effect with more companies involved. But if you want one-to-one, the program is called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, and I'm here to give assistance to anyone.
Very generous of you. Thank you very much. Would you like to react, or I close the session?
Just one more small thing. Here is where I was talking to Stefano about it's not only access to finance. This survey that we do annually, it enumerates all eligible tools and instruments that are available for startups, for SMEs. And by the way, startups are not members of chambers. They're not yet members. They will be members when they have their commercial registry. So most chambers today decided to provide their services free of charge to startups. Most, I can't say all, because I can speak on behalf of everybody. But what we're surveying is all the types of technical assistance, instruments, grants that are available to private sector, from startup to large companies, and with the eligibility criteria, with what to select. And this will create actually Turkey, Europe, Turkey, Egypt business, simply because maybe a Turkish supplier is more expensive than the Chinese. But when I have 2 years grace period and 0.75% interest rate and 5 years payback period, the net present value, the Turkish company is cheaper. So here are the instruments we need to. I'll be sending all the details about it, and this is, and Izikat, we agreed in the morning, you'll be having it on your website, all the instruments available, including technical assistance and exchanges.
You're absolutely right. Information is one thing, but support and expertise is another one. We know that for small and medium-sized enterprises, when they look at or they're looking for this kind of support, it often stops after the first lecture of the website, because it's too complicated, because you need expertise, because you need partners. That's the reason why for this seminar that we're going to organize, we also will provide networking, because the key persons, they often work for the local banks who are partners of this project, with people that are able to support you and to give you technical assistance. So it's a long way, it's a long journey. So we can start at some point, information, but we have to go much further than that. Fully agree.
Watch out regarding banks, because me as a bank, where I get, let's say, 18% interest on my own money that I on lend, when I give developmental money, I get a management fee of 0.5%. So banks actually hide these instruments. So what the best thing is interns to be trained to help support or matchmaking between companies that are utilizing and companies that are starting, and here is where it can work out. So I think this would be the best to get companies moving, and it's actually time to walk the talk. The money, let's separate between data and information. The data is there. You go to the website, you'll see, I don't know, EIB is offering 300 million euros for Turkish SMEs. You try to access it, it's impossible. And here I think the role of chambers, associations, is to help their members to access these funds.
I think
Before you close, one last thing. I don't like to shut up. I started in 1995 getting, I think it was 50,000 ECUs, which is euros today, from the Commission. Today, I get about 180 million per year. So accessing funding, it starts small and it grows as you have the know-how and the experience.
wow, impressive. A very impressive amount. I look at the audience and I don't see any hands raised. Then I would like to close the session by highlighting some messages from this session. I hope the discussions fed into the MEDSPARC initiative. I look at Özden Hanım, and I hope that discussions fed into green transformation, digital interoperability, and diversity channels. And let me close by highlighting the key messages. And I see that I can realize that there's a convergence of priorities among all the, across all the speakers. We have highlighted the need for better market access, free trade, no barriers, and access to finance is key. Collaboration is key. Namely for information exchange, matchmaking, collaboration tools, and collaboration to exchange not only goods or services, but for expertise. And we discussed how to disseminate the key information. We've discussed financing tools for tangible pathways. We've touched upon some programs like Erasmus Adult Plus, and above all, logistic channels should be open. And we also highlighted the risks, first and foremost the geopolitical risks stemming from the US protectionism, the question of Russia, the war, and all other blockages on the pathways. And I would like to thank you all, first to audience for their attention, even this time in the afternoon, very well-placed questions. And I would like to thank all the distinguished speakers for their deep insights and energy. Thank you.
Like to call Özden Ertan and also Vice President of BASİFET and USAT President Ömer Tekioğlu to present you with the Artemis statues as a token of appreciation for today. Again. Okay, Matt.